Now let's talk about properties of multiplication of these rational numbers. First property is when you multiply two rational numbers belong to Q or they are from Q, the answer must be belongs to Q. Simply بطريقة بسيطة احنا لو معانا two fractions دول هيكونوا rational numbers. بعد لما نعملهم multiply ايه اللي هيحصل؟ أكيد هيطلع rational number. طيب في الكويستشن اللي فات طلع نيجاتيف 4، ممكن حد يقول لي ده مش راشنال او ده مش فراكشن. اوكي احنا قلنا قبل كده ان اي نمبر زي نيجاتيف 4 او 2 ممكن عادي جدا نكتبهم في شكل فراكشن. 2 ممكن نكتبها 2 اوفر 1 ونيجاتيف 4 ممكن نكتبها برضو نيجاتيف 4 اوفر 1 وممكن نكتبها نيجاتيف 8 اوفر 2. ازاي؟ احنا عارفين ان 4 8 ديفايدد 2 وعشان هي نيجاتيف فبنقول نيجاتيف 8 اوفر 2. That's so simple. لو معانا 2 fractions عملنا لهم multiply اكيد الانسر هيكون fraction. Next point الcommutative. Commutative it means you can switch them. احنا عارفين ان 2 times 3 اكيد equals 3 times 2. طيب لو ال 2 و 3 دول بقوا fractions زي 2 over 5 times 3 over 7 نقدر عادي جدا نخلي 3 over 7 الأول بعد كده times 2 over 5 في الآخر. Third point 3 numbers times each other. احنا عارفين البوينت دي من قبل كده. احنا ممكن نبدأ عادي جدا بالفيرست 2 numbers نخلصهم بعد كده نعمل لهم times الثيرد، أو ممكن نبدأ بآخر 2 نجيب الإجابة وبعد كده نعمل لهم times الفيرست 1. ودي اسمها associative. يبقى احنا كده عندنا closure, commutative, associative. Fourth point existence of an multiplication identity. Multiplication identity it means a number that will not affect a fraction. So for example if you have a fraction you multiply it by 1, the answer for sure it will be this fraction. Multiplicative identity اللي هو ال 1 مش بيغير أي number for multiplications and we can switch them at the end it will be A for sure. Existence of multiplicative inverse. What the meaning of multiplicative inverse? If you have 2 over 3 the multiplicative inverse of this number it means to switch the fraction so it will be 3 over 2. طيب لو كان مش fraction أصلا زي مثلا 5 ازاي نعمل سويتشنج للفراكشن ده وهو اصلا مش فراكشن اتس 5. قلنا قبل كده ان 2 ممكن نكتبها 2 over 1 so 5 we can write it as 5 over 1 so its multiplicative inverse it will be 1 over 5. This is called multiplicative inverse. Number 6 distributing multiplication on addition. It means before you know the symbols let's take an example to be easy. If you have, for example, 1 over 2 and 2 over 3 plus 5 over 7, we know from before you can add first بعد كده نعمل multiply أو ممكن نعمل distribution half times this number and also half times this one. So if you have a number times brackets added together you can multiply A with B then plus A times C as being written here. We already have finished this part multiplicative inverse but we have just a question. What about if we have negative 2 over 5? Its multiplicative inverse will be, as we said before, we just switch the numbers of the fraction. So here we have 5 and then we have 2. What about the negative sign? Leave it as it is. We can write it here or we can write it here. It's okay. This one like this one. And this 2 is the inverse of negative 2 over 5. Take care we don't change the positive or the negative signs. We just change the fraction because this is multiplicative inverse, not additive inverse. At the end we have a special case. 0 doesn't have a multiplicative inverse. Why? To find a multiplicative inverse of a number, we said before, make it as a fraction, like 0 over 1. If you inverse this fraction, it will be 1 over 0, and there is no number divided by 0, or there is no answer for a number divided by 0. So 0 has no multiplicative inverse. Let's go to the second idea of this question. Let's solve this with the distributive property. We have half times 6 and 2 over 7. By using distributive property, you can take half times this number and half times this one. What's half times 6? So easy. Half 6 is 3. Now we need to multiply half by 2 over 7. If you have a number down repeated up, they cancel each other as like 2 over 2. And now we have 1 over 7 the answer. So 3 and 1 over 7, it will be 3, 1 over 7. So what we do here, we solved this question before by converting this into a fraction. And then we multiplied by half. In another way, you can take half times this number and this one. So half times 6, or half of 6 is 3. And then half times this fraction, it will be 1 over 7. And then we combine them together to be 3 and 1 over 7. The second point is division. By the way, you can just switch this into a multiplication question. How? Let's practice this question. If you have a fraction divide a fraction, we have a rule that we leave the first fraction and then we switch the division sign into multiplication and switch the second fraction. This rule called KCF, keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction, change the operation of division to be multiplication, and flip the second fraction. Now it's a multiplication question normally, and we use the same way of multiplications like the previous ones. Before multiply, let's simplify as we said. So negative 2 and 4, 2 and 4, both of them divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and we have a negative sign. 4 divided by 2, it's 2. Now we have 9 also and 3, both numbers divisible by 3. 3 divided 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Let's multiply. Negative 1 multiply 3, it's negative 3, and over 1 times 2, which is 2. So as we said, it's turned into a multiplication question normally.
تقدر تتابع كل دروسك على تطبيق مدرستنا بلس. مدرستنا، المستقبل يبدأ الآن.